At the summit of Vrooman's Nose near Middelburg, and looking over the Schoharie Valley. It's a beautiful day. Let's take it all in. I'm going to talk about the glacial history here. For those of you who have not been on top of Vrooman's Nose and don't know the story, what you see here is a valley that was sculpted by the last ice age as this ice wall advanced what later became known as the Wisconsin Glacier. It scraped everything in its path, took off tops of mountains and hills, deposited them in different places, but we can best see some of the gouge marks on a lot of these hills right here. If we look down, we'll see some lines called striation marks, and they mark the direction of the advancing glacier. Now, the valley itself benefited from this glacier when it retreated. So when about 10 to 15,000 years ago, when the glacier started melting, it created this huge lake, which has been known as Lake Schoharie. And when it drained, all the vegetation and organic matter that the ice wall on its advance had moved was deposited on the valley floor here. And that is how you get alluvial soil. So the soil here is extremely rich and it's quite deep. You can measure it, the topsoil, in feet, sometimes as much as a dozen feet or 24 feet. So it's great for agricultural purposes. So a few other things about the geology of the area. This Vrooman's Nose is made out of sandstone. Just north of here, north of Middelburg, and everything west of here is pretty much part of the Niagara limestone mass, which means it goes all the way to Niagara. So this is a little odd, being sandstone. But on this west side of the creek, it's actually older than the east side. Geologically speaking, they're still millions of years old on each side. But as you are looking over this area, where we're standing would have just peeked over the a sea millions of years ago. So on this side of the creek, which is right in front of us, but on this side of the creek, you have much evidence of the invertebrates that were in this sea, fossilized on the side of the hillsides. On the other side, you don't. That's mainly because on the other side, those hills were not there at the time. It's all flatland. So on Vrooman's Nose and on this ridge to the west, this would have been a shoreline. So very easily seen with the fossilized remains of all those invertebrates, and you will see hundreds of them in some places. So that is the glacial history of Vrooman's Nose.